it says live on Facebook now.
Okay, I think we're live. So
We're
good afternoon, Scratch readers, and welcome to another Live from the Living Room. Today I am joined by the amazing Jazz and Georgie from the Georgie Smedley Group. They're going to be doing a fantastic demo all about the Aeropuffing nail art technique, which is going to be fantastic as we move into the busy Christmas rush, and just as everyone's getting back to work, it's a really quick and effective way to do nail art within the salon. So I think first of all, guys, if you wouldn't mind talking to us a little bit about Aeropuffing, what it is and how you came to distribute it.
Okay, so a very good friend of ours who's in Russia actually introduced us to Aeropuffing. We'd seen it on the internet, and it's intriguing because you're able to get what looks like airbrushing effects on the nail without having to buy all of that really expensive equipment, because you need like the gun and the air pressure thing. I can't even remember. I used to teach it all. And it's, you know, a lot of cleaning, a lot of preparation, a lot of equipment,
and a lot of hassle.
Yeah. And it is brilliant. It is a brilliant art form on the nails. But Aeropuffing is just fantastic for people that don't have even, you know, like there's some people that just don't have an artistic bone in their body.
Yes.
And you know, they're amazing at nails. They're great at the structure of nails and all that kind of stuff. And yet trying to paint something on the nails and make it look half decent just doesn't come naturally. So this is a really, really good method to be able to use, especially if you're not that artistic. And then it's a bonus if you are, because you can create some really phenomenal designs.
I was just going to add, I've always loved nail art and always loved doing nail art. But when we got this in stock, I couldn't stop. Like, I literally opened the kit, and then it was just out on my nail desk for such a long time, where I just kept picking it back up, kept using it. And not only for like really cool, you can do like lots of portraits and things like that because of the texture of the paste, but also it's really great for in salon work. So it's great for this time of year when you do have the more 3D like cool art stuff, but it's also really cool for everyday artwear, which is amazing as well. And
also if you've got time restraints, because it's really quick to do, because you've got stencils and stuff that have ready-made images that you can use. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant art form on the nails. But Aeropuffing is just...
You can hear us.
Sorry, little technical twiddle.
There's another Georgie out there.
Amazing.
I was going to say, if I can just go through a few of the products and just
please.
describe briefly what each of them do, and then Jazz is going to show 2 or 3 designs, just so that you can see the variety of techniques that we use. Yeah. So I've laid them all out on my windowsill. How do I flip the camera, Jazz? Jazz is going to just do the technical stuff for me. There we go. Okay, so this is the actual kit.
It's the complete kit as well.
It has everything in it that you need. So these are the main players here. So this is the Aeropuffing stick, and you can put these little sponges in both sides. Now, you probably can't, if I just tilt it a bit, you can see that these ones have got a little bit of a point on the end, and these ones are just completely round. So you actually get 12 of those, 6 of the round ones and 6 of the pointy ones. So you've got that many, and generally what you do is you don't have to throw them away for a long time, because you just clean and reuse, but you'd have sort of like your white and your red and your black, so that you're using the same sponge over and over and over. Yeah. You also get your 2 top coats, so you've got a high gloss gel top coat, and that's a no cleanse formula.
Right.
Same with a matte top coat, again, no cleanse formula, and this actually feels like velvet when you apply it. It's a really nice finish, very, very matte. Cuticle defender, because you're obviously sponging near the cuticle, you don't want to get any of the paint on the skin. That will protect your skin so that you're abiding by health and safety, and that's got no latex in it, which is a really, really good point, because there's quite a few people that have got a latex allergy. And then you have all of these colours. So you've got 12 colours. I just had to count them because I couldn't remember. And the colours are all on the lids. Okay, so you can quite quickly tell what colours what. Now, underneath all of these, you also get, might have revealing little surprises when you take that out. So in here, you've got a little pocket, and in there you have loads and loads and I mean, there's literally, I don't know, there's actual tons of the stencils in there, and Jess is going to show you how to use those when she does her demo. And then on here, this is your little Aeropuffing plate that you puff onto. So you decant a little bit of paint onto that, and then you use that to either paint from or do your little sponges. Then we also have a chrome kit. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 10 colours in the chrome, and Jazz is going to use those, so she'll demonstrate those as well. And then you can get refills and everything as well. So you can have the refills of the sponges, you get refills of the stick. I just thought I'd bring some of these samples of the stencils that we do.
There are also some other stencils that aren't obviously in the kit that we do with this.
So there's hundreds, there's absolutely hundreds of stencils that we do. But this is brilliant. You know, if you're not confident with French manicure, you've got a really deep French, a classic French, a chevron French, 2 different types of chevron Frenches there. Very popular are the roses, hearts, tartan, and then you've got your little booklet. Now that enables you to reuse your stencils. So when you've taken them out of these packets, you then place them onto your booklet, you clean them on there, and then you reuse them. So you don't ever have to throw them away or repurchase them. So that's brilliant. Aeropuffing have 4 brushes, and Jazz will show you the use of about 3 out of the 4 of these. But this one here has got the chiseled edge. This is the one she's not going to use, but that's excellent if you're doing 1-stroke art. Really, really good. Now, the clever thing about this is the world's not the limit. No, the sky. I don't know. What is that phrase?
The sky's the limit.
The sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit. That's it.
Brain freeze. So you can actually use the colours, any of these pastes or any of the chromes, and you would mix it with the top coat to create your own gel polish colour. So you can make bespoke gel polish colours. The colours are so dense. You only need a tiny amount. That these will last you absolutely ages. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to switch this camera off.
Amazing.
And going to go straight into a demonstration. And Kat, I don't know if you're getting any questions come through, and I can perhaps answer them for you.
Yeah, of course. If we get any, I will shout them out as we go along, if there's a moment, a spare second.
So I'm going to say goodbye from this camera, and we'll concentrate on the other camera. And if people are watching on an iPhone, they can turn it on its side to get the widescreen. So I just thought I'd tell you that, because we had to discover that as well. So goodbye from me for a minute, but you will hear my voice on the other camera. Hi.
Okay, we just need to unmute this one. As Georgie and Jazz said, if you have any questions, please just pop them in the comments and I will shout them out as we go along. This video will be available to see on our social media channels and also on our website later today. I believe we've got you guys back. Can you hear me?
Yep, all good. Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't realise I was on mute. It made all sorts of mess. Okay, so just thought I'd show you my brand new Aeropuff nails. These were done this morning. So this is just a classic, you know, your baby boomer French ombre that's so popular right now, and I think forever it's going to be popular. So I thought I'd just start off with that. So I'm going to go straight in with getting 3 different tips prepared. It might be easier if you hold the camera.
Yeah, let me hold the camera for you.
Yeah, just so we can see the close-up, because I think this is going to be like such a new technique to a lot of people. They're going to want to see this close up.
Okay, if you just open that bit up so that I don't jolt it too much. Okay. Make sure I don't get my hand in the way.
Okay, so I'm just going to prepare 3 different colours. I'm using Barely Buff, then I'm using, I can't remember which ones I'm doing now, Smoke the Competition and Make 'em Squirm. So of Barely Buff, I'm literally just going to use 1 coat because this is quite a natural design, this one I'm going to do. So I'm literally just going to use 1 slightly thicker coat, and because it's quite a transparent colour, we can go slightly thicker on this one. There. I'm getting in my way, so sorry if I make some punch myself and things like that.
So Belly Button's in our core collection, and the other two that you've chosen, Jazz, is from the Villains collection.
Yeah, so Disney Villains is my favourite ever collection, so I'm sad that we don't keep the collections.
And just while that's in the lamp, I realised that a lot of different looks can be created with this technique. How would you advise techs on selling and on charging for this new nail art technique?
There's two ways of charging. I was always taught by, actually, it was the lady that taught me to airbrush. She said she charged by the minute. And she would charge £1 a minute. Now we're talking about near on 15 years ago. So she was charging £1 a minute. So if it took her 10 minutes, she's getting an extra £10. But I think a lot of people also like to give a flat rate. So perhaps 50p per nail.
But it also
starting
depends on
at,
what you're doing,
yeah, it does depend on what you're doing. So it depends on how long it takes you and how advanced your techniques are. I definitely say the smallest amount I'll charge is 50p per nail, and if you're doing a full set, £5. And I think that's quite cheap. If you're doing like baby boomers, I'd probably charge £5 for, wouldn't you, Jazz?
Yeah, definitely.
And then if you're doing a more intricate design, it would go up from there. I'm not sure if you want to, once that's in the light, Jazz, you can perhaps show some of the other nails that you've done.
Yeah.
And we can talk about the way that we'd price them.
Some of these were just the practice ones for today, because obviously I'm over organised and like too prepared. Didn't use cuticle defender on that one, obviously. So you have to excuse that.
So I'm not quite sure how well you can see these. Do you want to lift them up to the light? Or Kat, can you see those properly?
Yeah, they're looking brilliant. If you maybe want to bring one up to the camera at a time.
Yeah, okay. Let me just do that. So I don't know if you guys have heard of aquarelle. Is that watercolor? Yeah, or watercolor. So that's the colors are diluted. Jazz is going to show you how to do that in the background. So that I'd probably charge, if you're doing a full set of those, you can probably charge about £10 because you've got some intricate designs with using a really fine brush. So that could take a little while to do. This one you can do with or without the overlay. So I'm really into, I've been watching lots of interior design shows, so I'm really into clashing patterns right now, which I know is like unheard of ordinarily, but I absolutely love it. I think it's really, really cool, and it works really well with certain colors, certain patterns, and it just gives it a bit of character. Now I really like doing it on a darker background. Obviously this one here, it makes the design a little bit more muted because of the brighter background. This one, you can just about see the pattern in the background. So I think I'm going to do one similar to that now because that's my kind of favorite. This is really nice. And I don't know if the camera's picking it up well enough, but there is a really pretty deep sort of jade and purple and red background. It's a bit like a stained glass background, and then you've got the flower over the top. It's a really beautiful effect. This is done with the chrome gel, and I don't know if you can see that that's actually got raised vine kind of leafy bits. I'm actually going to start with that one. And yeah, Jazz is going to show you how to do that one. It's really, really simple. Okay, so get that palette without taking it across. So I've got it prepared with my colours that I'm going to use. So you can see this jade here, it looks different on every base. This one, it looks really quite dark. Here it's looking a bit brighter because I've used a brighter colour. On this one, I didn't use as much of it, but it comes out really, really bright. So depending on your base, of course, it completely changes the colour up. So, and would you advise, Jazz, to put white first if you want to brighten it up? If you want to brighten it up on a dark base, absolutely. I would always start with a white to really make your colour pop. But then you need to make sure that you're not ruining your stencil. So you're going to keep your stencil in exactly the same place because it's easy to want to take the stencil off
obviously between each layer.
Yeah.
So you need to remember not to do that.
So this one is that beautiful grey that you've used called Smoke the Competition, and then you've put your matte top coat, and you can see that that is completely matte, and this is the surface that you will be aeropuffing onto. You won't be doing it on a sticky surface, so you'll always use the matte first.
So I'm using my chrome colour paste. This one is STO18. It's a really dark sort of coppery red colour. I'm just going to add a little bit more because there's not quite enough there. The chrome pastes have a really unusual texture, actually, different to the just the plain colours. And they kind of turn into, like, it feels like a film almost. So we're going to.
So do you mean it's quite thin?
No, it literally turns into like a. I can't even explain it. You have to play around with it to know what I mean. But I'm just going to do this in a sort of C shape all the way around the outside.
And of course, if this was actually on a client's hand and nail, you would apply that guard.
That's it, the cuticle defender. That's right, yeah.
I did once try and apply it to a tip, and it just ended up making me angry, so I didn't do that anymore.
You don't need to do it when you're doing it on a tip. Of course, you can then just clean it off the plastic, can't you, with some cleanser afterwards. The really amazing thing about this as well, now if Jazz has made a mistake now, she will just get a wipe with some cleanser on it and wipe that all off, because she's still got her colour and her matte base underneath. So if she does make a mistake, she can just simply wipe it off.
So I've just picked up quite a lot of colour there. So I'm just dabbing a little bit off and then spreading what I have got.
It really looks like a small amount of product goes a very long way as well. So very economical.
Tiny.
That's
And
exactly
actually,
right.
the more that you use, the harder this product is to use. So you really do need to use a tiny, tiny, tiny amount.
And the best thing is also, if you want to deepen the colour and make it stronger and stronger, you would cure your first layer and then add to it.
Okay, so I'm happy with that now. I don't know how clear it is on.
It is, but as you twist it, Jazz, you can see that really nice metallic appear in the light. That's really nice. I mean, that is just a beautiful nail to wear as it is as well, isn't it?
Yeah, stunning. Okay, so I'm going to pop that in the light. And while that's curing, I'm going to get my number 2 brush. It's a bit battered now. This is my personal one. And I'm going to get my embossed gel.
And I didn't show that earlier. I mean, I didn't show everything that's in the range, to be fair, because there's quite a lot. But this gel is called embossed because you can do 3D designs with it. So it remains raised. And it's really lovely and easy to use. And you can see how thick it is, because when we just lift up the pot like that, it doesn't move.
Okay, now with this product, it feels like you're going against everything that you've been taught because it's so thick. So I kind of like to wipe a little bit off. And then you're going to place a bead and kind of drag it.
You'll try and get a little bit closer, Jess, so that we can get a better picture. So you position your brush, and then I will get out of your way, so I'll make sure that I'm getting the right. Is that okay?
Yeah. So I've just done a circle there, and that's just because I'm going to fill it in a little while. And I'm just raising those edges just a little bit more. And then I'm going to fill my brush again. And as I said, look how thick that is. It feels really, really bizarre to use, but once you get used to it, you'll absolutely love it.
It looks like it's just doing exactly what you want it to do in terms of movement for like ease of design. It's wonderful.
Once you get used to it, it does. And it's just about having to play with it so you know how it moves. And then you can do exactly what you want to do.
Can you turn that tip on its side, Jess, so that we can see how much, where's it gone? Yeah, so you can see how raised it is from the side. That's what I wanted, perfect. It's even nice just like that, isn't it?
I was going to add to it, but I think I'm going to leave it there.
Yeah, I think it's nice like that.
I was going to put one more here. What do you think? Should I put one more? I'm going to regret
your
it,
design,
probably.
Jazz. It's your design.
It's too symmetrical.
Yeah.
So all I'm going to do here is just fatten up these little bits. And when I mean fatten up, I mean outwards. So I'm not going to make them any thicker. I'm just going to make them stand up a little bit more, and you'll see why in a second. So I'm going to pop that in the light. And in the meantime, I'm going to clean my brush off. Get my next colour ready. So when I clean the brush, it's really, really simple. I just twist it in between the lint-free pad. And you can feel it kind of sticking because it's obviously like a thick gel. You can really feel the stickiness of it, but it comes off a lot easier because it doesn't get into your bristles.
And would you use like a cleanser or a soak-off solution or anything like that?
You can do, but obviously you guys can't feel this, but it literally is completely clean now. Because it kind of sticks to the outside of the bristles.
Because it's so thick.
It's
yeah, so because it's so thick, it doesn't actually penetrate in through all the bristles. I guess I understand what you're saying.
Thank you for translating my English. My English to English.
You just love a palette of colours. That purple's so nice.
Okay, so I'm going to use the gold now. And I'm just going to tap it off. And this has been cured. So all I'm going to do is really lightly just go on the top of it. And you can see it kind of gives it like a vintage gold kind of colour.
So if you wanted to change that now to like a rose gold, would you be able to put some red on it or pink or something?
I could do, yeah, I definitely could. But
that's
I like
so nice. So if you got any gold onto the background, how would you clean that up? Would you just use a brush in between before you cure it?
You could use a brush. I tend to like to wrap a lint-free pad around my nail and kind of do it with my nail because I can get right into the corners.
But it's so raised, it actually hasn't gone on to any of the background at all.
There is some slight bits here. I've got makeup on my finger. There is some slight bits here.
Yeah.
But I actually really like that effect.
It gives it a more of a vintage look because that's what you're trying to achieve anyway, isn't it? Exactly. I like that.
So I'm just going to pop that in. And then I'm going to start getting ready for my next one. Where did I put my other tips? There's one more
here.
And I was wondering, since that's sort of in the lamp, we've got a second. I was wondering if you could talk us through if there's any training options available to offer this technique.
You know what? At the moment, we don't. But if you were to contact our educators that are experts in the aeropuffings, because a lot of our educators, will be specialising in one system or another. But if you wanted to get in touch with the girls that really specialise in the design work, then they could probably put a course on for you. But as we've already mentioned, this is such a simple thing to use. There's a lot of tutorials on the Aeropuffing page, the Aeropuffing UK and the original Aeropuffing page. Lots and lots of videos. It's so simple to use, honestly.
So I'm going to go against everything that we're taught here, and I'm going to match silver with the gold. I'm just going to fill in this circle.
So you've cured that, haven't you?
I've cured that, yes. I'm using Fashion Above All.
That's such a nice silver.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see how sparkly it is on screen. So nice.
And then I'm just going to get little bits from my brush and just run some red through it. And then a little bit of purple.
So you're going to marble it through a little bit.
That's right.
Nice.
Can't really see it so much in there.
Yeah, it's hard to pick it up on camera, but fine details quite often don't show, do they? So are you going to leave that like that, or are you going to put like a bead of top coat on so that it's got like a dome effect? Because sometimes people do that, don't they?
Yeah.
They use structure gel, they use a thicker gel to create a dome, and then that magnifies the design they've got underneath.
Yeah, you could do either, of course. You could leave it however you wanted to. But I'm just going to put a bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Shiny top coat on that, and then I'm going to put matte on the rest of it. So you'll see what I mean in a minute. It has to be top coated, obviously, because of the raised edges. The colour on the top starts to wear away. So now I'm going to do on with the stencils. This is my Aeropuffing reusable stencils. So you can see I've got quite a few in here.
And as you previously mentioned, those stickers can be kept and cleaned and stored in that book.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can see nothing's coming off on my finger. It does leave a bit of colour, but that has been cleaned. So you just literally pick it up with a cotton pad and you just kind of dab at it, and you do the same with the brushes.
Do you have anything on the cotton pad when you're doing it?
Yeah, with a cleanser or a mover. So here I always stick mine diagonally, especially for a longer nail. So I'm sticking it here, or sticking it to myself. And just pressing it down.
And remember, Jazz isn't exposing herself to any sticky residue because she's used the matte top coat. So it's all, obviously we have to be thinking all the time, don't we, about safe practices.
Yeah, and because it's a no cleanse top coat as well, this is what it would be if I was doing a client's nails. This is how it would finish. So I'm just going to go in with that bright teal colour. And I'm just using a tiny amount.
Doing that. Go on then.
And I literally, you have to make sure you get it quite in the centre of the sponge. And the reason for that is if you get it on the side, you get more of an uneven sort of blend.
Yeah.
That's it. So I'm just going to go in the middle here and blend this colour out. So
you're doing just a real subtle background, and if you wanted it to be brighter, you'd use a white on it first. Is that right?
Yeah. So now I'm going to go in again with this lovely purple.
And did you change your sponge just then, Jazz?
Yep. So I changed my sponge. I've got sort of colour tones. So I've got reds and pinks on this one. Any dark colour on this one. This one I kind of just used this one colour. And then yellows, golds and oranges on this one.
Perfect. And that's why you've got the two sticks, so that you can have that many. And obviously in the box itself, you've got 12 different sponges.
It's also very easy just to change, so I can just pop that off and change them if I wanted some more colours.
Okay, and give us some advice about how you pull the sponges out, Jazz, because I definitely broke one doing that the other day.
Definitely broke one of my sponges. So you kind of need to run your fingers along, and when you feel this white section here, if you just wiggle at it, it does come out quite easily.
Don't pull it from
the sponge, because he'll come off. And you
break
will behead him.
Yes, he's beheaded. I did behead one earlier.
He beheaded my sponge. Okay, so now I'm going to use this pink. Obviously, all of my designs have to have pink in them.
I will try not to get in your way here, Jazz. Let's do it from this side. Oh, here we go. That looks good.
That's better. Oops, too much. The great thing about oops, too much is usually you will realise before you've even got to your nail. So as you start to tap onto your palette, you can realise that you've got too much, and you just keep tapping, and as you keep tapping you just kind of offload some more. So I'm just going to pop this in and cure it. I'm not going to do a second coat because I like the subtlety of the colours in that one. That's that one there.
Oh, that's so nice. I love the marble going through the middle.
So I'm just going to get my shiny top coat.
Oh, camera just flicked. I hope that doesn't.
literally fill the outside. I'll put that back in. I didn't put this
Kat, can you just tell me if I've gone portrait or landscape, and do I need to change?
Your portrait at the moment, but it looks absolutely fine. We can really see how amazing that 3D effect looks on the flat nail. It looks amazing.
It was really, yeah, it's such a clever technique to use, just using a thicker gel and then aero puffing on the top of it. It's very smart.
Again, perfect for this time of year when you are rushed off your feet in a salon. That client comes in wanting something a little bit more fancy. You're sorted.
Yeah, brilliant.
Okay, so now I'm just literally going to peel off this stencil very gently. And you can see I've got that.
Just take this out of the way and have the white background, and you might be able to see it better. That's so nice. And again, you can just leave it at that stage if you want to. You could outline the little triangle pieces if you wanted to, with black or with white. But what Jazz is going to do is she's going to put a completely different mismatched pattern over the top of it, and just create something that's got more texture to it.
Okay, so now I've just literally placed this lightly onto my stencil, my album, sorry, and I'm just cutting. So I didn't even pick up this stencil, didn't even stick it down properly. I literally just placed it, and then with my lint-free pad, just tap at it. You can see not much really even comes off, but what it does do is it just gets any of the uncured product off. The pigment usually just stays there, and then you can use it again and again.
So you've got to be careful not to rub it, because you don't want to break those delicate lines in between, right?
And the same with the sponges. They're very, very dense microfiber sponges. Now the difference between these and some others that you can get cheap versions,
can't you, on various selling platforms that we all know people go to.
The difference with these is the quality of this sponge is so dense. You can probably see it best in my white one here. As I'm pressing it, it is still rock solid. It's not squidgy at all. My favorite word ever.
The ones, so the cheaper ones they've got more air in them, is what you're saying?
Yeah, they've got holes. They're really squishy. And when they're squishy, you can't get that nice blend. So with this, you've got a really, really tight,
dense bubbles,
sponge,
yeah,
and therefore you get a
nice even blend
like that.
So what happens with the cheaper ones that are not so dense? Are you saying that when you get more of a stipple effect rather than a really even blend?
Okay, so I'm just going to take my matte top coat and I'm just going to go over the rest of this design here.
So you're leaving the centre bit shiny where you've got your little bit of marbling.
Yeah.
And then you're going to re-mattify the rest, and that's going to actually protect the colour and stop it from wearing off.
And obviously you can still see the depth and the 3D-ness of it.
Yeah.
That's a technical term. But you can still see, this is what it would look like, shiny as well. But we're going to pop it in and
it will be matte when it comes out.
Okay, so now for this design, I'm using my #1 brush again. Absolutely filthy from all the use. It's stained. I didn't clean it quick enough. Okay, so I'm literally, if you can see how much white I've got there, I'm literally just going to coat my brush. And I'm going to start sort of in the center and think about where I want my design to go. I always my designs are always in the same sort of direction. I'm one of those where you can spot them a mile off because they're always the same. So they kind of go in an S shape, or they're on the right hand side. And so just going to start off. I'm going to move so you can move on top of me.
Yeah, I'll move when you move.
So I've started with my first swirl there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add from this point. So here I'm just going to add a type of leaf.
So what would happen if you felt like your paint is too thick? What can you do?
I can literally just mix it in with my top coat and thin it out a little bit.
So you would put a blob of top coat into your white and then mix it
or
up
a
before
blob
you use
of
it.
top coat and then put a little bit of white, depending on how opaque you wanted it to be.
So you can actually do like a whitewash effect as well if you wanted to, by using top coat and mixing in a tiny amount of white.
Yeah, that's right.
Endless possibilities. And what brush is it you're using? Number 1. And that's your really fine liner brush, isn't it?
It's a shorter brush, this one. Oh.
And again, you can just see how lovely and opaque that colour is to use on such a dark background. That's creating a striking effect.
So you can see I've got that pattern in the background with a completely, so that the background design is very sharp, straight lines. And then the design on top is very flowing, round,
floral,
circular designs. And I like the clashing patterns together.
And the combination,
with the clashing colours as well. So we'll go back to this guy. So you can see now we're back to matte, and it's made this gold just look a little bit more of that vintagey look because of the matte on top.
Yeah, it's toned it down a little bit. Yeah, it's toned it down. It's really nice.
Okay, now on to my favourite effect ever. 5 minutes, haven't I?
I think so.
Now I'm going to go on to doing this design. I don't think I'll have time to get the lines done, so I'm just going to show you how to do the aquarelle part, but we might be able to get there. Now I've just prepared a little bit of cleanser just in the lid of my cleanser, and I'm using my petal brush, which is number 3, and this is my little baby. I'm just going to give it a quick clean.
And what did you put on this nail, Jazz?
I just used barely, I've just used Barely Buff, which is a really nice, almost, it's like a semi-opaque colour, and then put matte top coat on top.
And cured it, right?
And cured it.
And this is the other finished design that Jazz has just done. Beautiful.
Okay, so what I like to do is I literally like to take a tiny bit. I don't know if you can see how much is on the end of my brush. Let's do it here. Literally the tiniest amount.
Yeah, I can see that, I think.
And then I'm going to just work it into my palette. Then I'm going to dip my entire brush into the cleanser and drop it in. And then I can go in and push that colour. I've still got a little bit of glitter on this.
Oh, that looks nice with the glitter. Probably can't pick it up with the camera. So what does the cleanser do then?
So the cleanser gives it kind of that watercolor effect, because obviously adding water to it will just thin it out and change the viscosity of it. What this does is it gives it that watercolor effect. It spreads the color out, so I can add a little bit more cleanser if I wanted to and do a lighter effect. You can add enough cleanser there.
So it basically waters it out the more cleanse you've put.
Exactly.
Now, I'm guessing that where obviously we have a lot of people that question mixing different things, this cleanser is going to evaporate and just leave that gel behind. So the job of the cleanser is to spread the paint out, and so that you get the sharp edges around, you know, like the edges of your petals, and you get a watered down effect towards the center. But because that liquid evaporates, you're not risking anything from remaining uncured, because that evaporates, you're leaving the gel behind and then you're curing it.
And you can see actually that it's completely matte again now, and that's because that's evaporated. I'm just going to add a little bit of an orange into the center. So I'm just going to squeeze a tiny amount out. pick up some cleanser on my brush.
Oh, that's really, really watered it down, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't want a lot of this colour because it will overpower it. Or yellows and oranges tend to overpower. They like to get involved.
And just looking at the palette itself, how is that cleansed and how is that stored?
This is the easiest thing to clean. I will show you afterwards. Literally, I earlier just poured out what was left of my cleanser straight onto the palette and used a cotton pad, and that was it. Simple as.
That's really nice. Those colours are so pretty.
And then I can do the same with this purple colour. Just add another petal down here.
And because all of these art pastes can be mixed and that, it just creates an absolute endless palette for the nail.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. So you can use them just as their original colours, or you can mix them to create new colours. I mean, there's already 12 colours in just the plain cream colours, and then you've got an additional 10. So you're looking at 22 colours all in all that you can mix and match and do whatever. You can literally create anything you want. That is so nice.
So as we said, you can leave it like this. You prefer them with the black outlines.
Yeah, please do the black outlines. I want to see it.
Okay, I'll do black outlines.
You've done that very quickly. Oh, you've added another one.
Did another petal just in here.
I mean, even if you get black outline on just one of the flowers, just so that we can see how we would do it, Jazz.
Okay.
So you're going to cure that first.
I have to cure it first. And so this one, what should we do? Should we matte or shiny it?
Oh, I don't know, Jazz. I think matte.
You think matte?
Yeah, I think this one should be shiny and that one should be matte.
You thought the opposite to me.
I'll do it matte then. Do it shiny then.
Oh, do it shiny.
You've got two matte ones here, so we can compare what they look like when they're finished.
So these need to be sort of have an overlay of a top coat just to seal in those pigments.
Exactly, yeah. Just like anything, just like if you were painting a colour on, you'd always put a top coat on to hold the whole thing together.
Yeah, I'm glad I listened to myself.
You like it in shiny, do you, Jazz?
Yeah, shiny.
Very
Kind of
nice.
makes those colours pop. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my teeny tiny brush. Let me give it a wipe. And
so is that black now? It's been sitting there for a while. Will it be thicker? Would you mix some top coat into that?
it will be slightly thicker, but it's not been sitting there for that long, so it should be okay. And I like it to be quite thick when I'm doing these outlines because I can get it really thin that way.
Oh, I thought you'd get it thinner if you put top coat in it.
It's my personal preference because I use the very, very tip of my brush.
Yeah, because this one you did get it super thin. Those lines are so thin.
It creates such a stunning effect for those that are perhaps a little bit scared of trying aquarelle, because I know that's can be quite a high skill level. So this seems like such a lovely, quick salon entry style way of achieving that technique.
Yeah, definitely. It looks quite scary and so detailed, and it just looks like you would need a lot of skill. I mean, Jazz obviously is skilled at doing this, but I'm sure she can attest to the fact that it is really not difficult to do. Oh, I love those really fine lines. It just gives you a nice finish, I think, Jazz. But like Jazz was saying, you can leave it without, doing the outlines. You could just leave your aquarelle background.
So what we could do is take our dotting tool and do some dots in the center. Oh, I used the gelish color, but that's fine.
Mix and match. Oh, that's so nice. I hope you can pick up on the screen. Can I just zoom in a little bit, Jazz, as you're doing that? It goes a bit blurry if we go in too close, but that's so nice.
Is there anywhere that perhaps readers can go to see artwork sort of similar to this? Will it all be on social media?
Yeah, so the best place to find it is on Instagram. So you go to either Aeropuffing, the main Aeropuffing site, or you can go on to Aeropuffing UK. And actually on our GS group, we've got the highlights on there as well, Jazz, haven't we? You've done a few designs on there, a few tutorials. We've also got on our highlights how to clean the stencils, how to clean the brushes, the sticks with the sponges. So all of the information is on there on our highlights. Oh, sorry, I went on to landscape again, making people dizzy with the way my camera work is going.
You can really see those details though. That just looks absolutely stunning.
Really cute.
My tip straight.
I love flowers.
Colour that I wanted.
So what, you putting some more of the little dots in the centre?
Yeah, I was going to use orange, but I just stuck my tip in it and I think I've used it all up.
No, I can see it.
Okay.
Let's have a look. We have a little zoom in. So nice. I love that. Beautiful. So now you cure it, and then again you're deciding whether you're going to use a shiny or a matte top coat.
Yeah.
So can we compare those two nails that you've done, and one's shiny and one's matte? Just give them a little yeah, that's really nice. I don't know what I prefer now.
I prefer shiny.
They're both really nice. I think it is personal preference.
Matte.
Yeah, well, you've got both on that one. I think that's really nice to have it both together.
And it just demonstrates how versatile these products are for the different effects that can be achieved.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, I wish we could do a vote online. Matte or shiny?
Kat, you decide. Matte or shiny for this one?
Oh, my heart's telling me matte, but
yeah, I think matte. I think matte as well, because I really like how it looks right now. Yeah,
it's just making me want spring to come a bit sooner, to be honest. I love those colours. They're stunning.
I'll post a picture of them in the comments as well. Well, you can see that it's what it looks like shiny there as well.
Yeah. Should we put all the tips together?
Let's move this. So I'll just show you quickly how to clean the palette just before we head off.
Where was the original ones of these ones that you're...
Oh, I chucked them there somewhere, so I don't like them. So literally what I will do is I'll get two of these cotton pads, and these ones are great for cleaning this because of these plastic back things. You don't get anything on your hands. I like to get the majority off
with just a dry
one. Oh, look how pretty that looks. What a pretty cotton pad.
So get the excess off first,
and then, like I said, I've got a little bit of cleanser in there, and that's only going to go in the bin anyway, so I just pour it straight on top, and I just use like a little buffing motion. And it's literally that quick and easy. That obviously that's got a high percentage of alcohol, so that will just dry up nicely. I could go over it again because I've got some smears, but it's all sanitized and ready to be used again, and there won't be any left over on there. There's nothing left on my hands. There is some glitter because I'm always covered in glitter, of course. But these are the finished designs.
Very nice. And then of course you're going to clean all this bit up if you're going to display them for your customers, aren't you?
What about seeing how to clean the sponges? We'll do that,
please. Yes.
So I'm going to use a darker one. Now this you're never going to pour the cleanser straight onto because it will just be too much for it. So you're going to
not onto the sponge.
Not onto the sponge. So literally you can see as I've gone here, there's hardly anything coming off. As soon as I hit that cleanser, we've got quite a bit coming off, and you don't need to get everything out. It's more important that you keep the sponge nice and fresh and dense to use. As soon as you
if you put too much pressure on it and put too much cleanser on it, you're going to start damaging the sponge. This is more for hygiene reasons as well, that you would clean it. You don't necessarily have to get all the paint out, because you're going to just use similar colours next time you use it.
And you're never ever going to rub. We're not going to do a rubbing motion. You will just break up the sponge, and you'll break up that lovely dense blend that you're going to have, and then you'll start to see tiny little spots on your nails.
But if someone was to accidentally, whilst they're first learning how to use it, accidentally damage their sponge, like the little refills can be purchased.
Yeah, and they're really reasonably priced as well. Everything in the whole range is very reasonably priced, especially when you're comparing it to an airbrush kit that is quite expensive, quite hard to do, takes a long time to do, has a lot of cleaning involved. So this is really so much easier to use and to keep clean. And then, of course, you can refill with the sponges and stuff. But your paints will last a very, very long time because they're such a high pigmented paint.
Now that is just about enough. Like I said, I don't need to make sure everything's off. I'm only going to use my dark colours, my black, anything like that, but you can see there's nothing actually coming off. That's just what's right deep in the sponge. And by the time you need to get everything out of the sponge, you're going to want a new sponge anyway. I mean, I've had these since I think last year, and I've never ever replaced these sponges. These are a year old, but just looking after them means that I have kept these, and I'll continue using them until I think I could probably do with some new sponges now.
Yeah. So do we have any questions that we need to answer?
Well, I think that's all been so perfectly demonstrated. I think everyone's just been so overwhelmed by how versatile the products are and how easy they are to use and create such stunning effects. So it's just more of a case of explaining where techs can get their hands on the products. I believe it's your website.
That's right. It's all available on our website at thegsgroupuk.com.
Amazing. And if we do have any comments or questions, if that's all right for you guys, I'll make sure that I get them to you. But apart from that, I just want to say thank you so much. It's been
thank you for having us.
It's been so incredible to watch such a cool new way of creating such detailed designs. It's amazing.
That's
thank
brilliant.
you for having us.
Thanks ever so much for having us. And yeah, we can pop up on and answer some questions on
Definitely.
your feeds as well.
And if anyone's got any challenges that they want to see done with Aeropuffing, I'll be sure to give it a go. I'm not good at Disney characters, try that one. But anything else.
You can look like one, but you can't create one on a nail.
Oh no, that's amazing. Well, like I said at the start, this video will be available on the Scratch website later today. It'll also be saved on our social media channels in case you miss anything at the start or you want to nip back and see if there was a little bit of detail that you missed. But apart from that, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll hopefully see you guys soon in the flesh.
Yeah.
See you later.
Bye.